Welcome to my UC diary. My name is Trish, and I figured I would go ahead and do a post-surgery update because I haven't really updated recently. Updated about the surgery recently. And so I'm doing pretty good. Today is Wednesday, so it's been 1 week and 2 days, so 9 days since my surgery, and I'm actually doing really good. I have gotten into a habit of doing everything that I need to do and getting back to some normalcy. I'm still being very careful. I haven't got the doctor's okay to do lifting, so I still can't lift anything that's heavier than like a gallon of milk, which is fine. I'll just be careful with that. But I did get to drive today for the first time, which was really exciting. So I thought that I would kind of touch a little bit on what my surgery was. And, sorry, I didn't get myself all dolled up or anything like that. Yeah, I'm wearing a hoodie and my hair's pulled back and yeah. But anyway, I had my surgery on the 29th of January. So I had it last week, last Monday. And it's surreal because it feels like it was forever ago, but I realized that it's only been like barely a week and a half. And so it's really, or right at a week and a half, but it's been really, you know, um, it's been an easier recovery in a sense, but also a little bit harder. This surgery was a lot more painful than the last one, which is funny. The first surgery was the big surgery. That's where they took out my colon. That's where they put the ileostomy in place, and it's where I had all the incisions. I had the big incision that was very low on my abdomen. And then I had, the incisions that were all around my stomach from the laparoscopic surgery. And then I had the ileostomy. So I had the stoma. And so then I also had the appliance in the bag and all of the goodies that came along with that. Um, and that surgery, I think the hardest part about that surgery was just accepting that I could move, getting back into moving normal, because you do have a fear that you're going to pop an incision open, which thankfully never happened. But, that and learning to live with the ileostomy was actually a lot easier than I anticipated. So that surgery was pretty easy. I mean, it wasn't easy, but considering what I expected, it was easy. Now, this surgery was a lot more painful. The takedown surgery, the only incision that I have is an open incision where the stoma was. Now, what they did was they just, reconnected the intestine where, they took the loop out and reconnected everything. So my intestine is stapled together at this point. So I have to be very careful about what I eat. And just as long as it's not anything that's too rough. And so that's fine. That's the same diet that I had to start with the second or the first surgery. But this one just really hurt. I mean, the pain level that I was feeling was a lot more intense than with the first surgery. But it did ease up. That once I got home and I was able to move more freely, because I wasn't attached to IVs and such, I was the pain eased up a lot. However, I do have an open incision. I think that's open wound, open incision. I don't really know the proper term for it, but because of it being where they had to connect the intestine back, it's a high risk of infection because you are dealing with fecal matter. I mean, you're dealing with poo, and so that can cause infection. So instead of closing the stoma site up, they just reconnected everything, and then they left the opening there. They closed it a little, but left it somewhat open to allow anything that needs to get out to get out. And so basically it's going to heal from the inside out. And I do have to wash it 3 times a day. Now, this is the funny part. I did not realize that in all my research, you guys know how I like to go into things not blind. I like to know what's going to happen. And, my surgeon probably most certainly did mention it to me, and it didn't register. But that I was going to have an open incision. And so when I came out, I just thought, I had the gauze, everything, the gauze was over it. And he told me right away, now you have an open incision, this, and this. And, he was making sure that I knew that I had an open incision. Don't mess with it. And I was like, oh. And so that was a little unsettling. It took me a moment to kind of adjust into that. And so um, the only I was afraid, oh no, this is going to really hurt. Like they started going over the care for it, and they were like, okay, when you get home, you're going to have to wash it about 3 times a day, soap and water, just let water run over it, put soap over it, rinse it off really good. And, they said, let it air out. Don't keep gauze on it all the time, yada, yada, yada. And I'm sitting here thinking, okay, I have a dog and 2 cats, and they shed a lot. And I was like, there's animal hair. Even in my best cleaning moments, there's always animal hair somewhere. And so I thought, there's going to have to be gauze on it pretty frequently. Otherwise, there's going to be animal hair inside my body. And no, no. Anyway, so I'm going through all this process. And so I kept thinking, this is going to hurt. Like, I don't understand how people can do this. I'm sorry, I'm holding my phone weird. But I kept thinking, this is actually going to really hurt. How do people manage this? It's an open wound. Like, how am I supposed to wash soap and water that? It's going to hurt so bad. And, I had already been in so much pain in the hospital. I mean, it was really a lot of pain. And then, the doctor, right before they start discharge, there was a wick that they had placed in the incision to allow, whatever needed to drain out to drain out. So he had to pull the wick out. Oh, that is a pain that I never, ever, ever want to feel again. It makes me tear up just thinking about it. That was horrible, horrible pain. And so that's what I thought that it was going to feel like every time I had to wash it. And I thought, I can't do this. I cannot do this. And, I was trying to go through my head, you've got to do this. You've done so much. You've come so far. Don't let this is the last step. Don't let this be the thing that breaks you. You've got to do it. And, I remember crying right before I took the first shower. Like the first day home, I didn't shower. I was like, there's no way. I can't do it. There's no way. When he pulled the wick out, I mean, it was almost like having something stabbing you and the person pulling it out. And so, I mean, I don't know really how to describe it. It was just my abdomen muscles started contracting and flinching, and I mean, it was painful. I mean, and the pain subsided after a few minutes, but I mean, that first minute, that pain, it was solid, constant pain for that first minute. And so I, again, thought that's what it was going to feel like. So I finally said, I've got to wash it. I've got to take care of it, because otherwise I'm going to end up back in the hospital with an infection, or it's going to take longer for it to heal. And frankly, just suck it up. You've got to do it. And because at the thought of an infection and them having to remedy that, and I just thought, I don't want to be back in the hospital because I didn't have enough courage to take care of this. And so I finally got in the shower.